the wrestling world, basically, CM Punk got fired. Uh, so basically, how it was is so from the very beginning. First of all, CM Punk's a big superstar and everything. Everyone knows him from the WWE. He went to the UFC, got beat up in the UFC, left. But he hasn't been in wrestling in years. I want to say about 10 years or so, or like 7 years. But basically, he gets to AEW, new company, and he's a big star over there. Everything. So they don't have the same setup as WWE where WWE has like millions of, they got like thousands of people that work for them. And like everybody has a certain position. Like you're a wrestler, you're a wrestler. You if you work for the talent relations, you're talent relations. So in AEW, they're not that big yet. So the wrestlers, some of the wrestlers are the EVPs. So they're over the talent and everything while being a talent. So basically what happened was CM Punk comes in, he's a big name, he draws a lot of money. And you know the EVPs who are also wrestlers don't like that. That's basically how it is. And some comments were said throwing shots at CM Punk. CM Punk responds back to the shots. And what happened last year in Chicago was basically CM Punk was like, if he wins the world title, he goes, I work with fucking kids, and if anybody got a problem with it, come meet me in the locker room. So they go the EVPs who the wrestlers who are EVPs now go to his locker room and they get into a fight. And that overshadows the whole entire pay per view because that's all everybody's talking about is the fight. So CM Punk, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks get suspended. CM Punk literally just won the world title and he got injured in the same match. So it was like he was gonna be gone anyway. So it's like that just doubled down on it. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks had just won the trios title. So they got stripped, everybody got stripped of their titles. The Young Bucks come back, Kenny Omega comes back, they win the titles back, whatever. CM Punk is still hurt, he's suspended still. So when it's time for him to finally come back, they're like, AEW is kind of like, we don't know if we really want him here, da 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 da. But their company, the company's partner, which is the Turners, the people that's over TBS and TNT, they're like, bruh, y'all need to get CM Punk back here right now so we can give y'all an extra show. Y'all don't get an extra show without CM Punk. So basically, AEW is like, okay, whatever, we'll work with CM Punk, cool. So they basically gave CM Punk his own show on Saturday nights. Like he gets to do whatever he wants on that show. Him and all the people he trusts could be on that show. Nobody else. If he don't trust you, you're not on that show. So basically, coming down to it, we getting around kind of like round now. One of the guys named Jack Perry, his father was a famous star from 902.10. He's a wrestler now. So Jack Perry basically comes on the show and like on AEW Collision, they don't do the hokey hardcore stuff. Like they're actually about pure wrestling and everything and about story. On AEW Dynamite on Wednesday nights, they're about about the numbers, hardcore stuff and hardcore matches and all this blood and guts stuff. So basically, he comes on the Saturday night show and he's like, I want to use real glass. Management's like, oh sure, go ahead, do it. Because management don't care. Management is Tony Khan. He really doesn't care. And CM Punk basically talks to him like a vet, like, yo, I don't think you should do that. You could get hurt from actually using real glass. You shouldn't do that type of stuff. So I think they got into like a back and forth, and they basically end up sending Jack Perry home. So now we get to current. Now we kind of like getting a couple months ago. Well, like a couple weeks. They're at London. This is the biggest wrestling event of all time. They done sold out Wembley Stadium and everything. And on the pre-show, they have a hardcore match, and Jack Perry's in the hardcore match, and he goes. They have a part of the match where they're fighting on a limousine, and Jack Perry looks directly in the camera, tells the camera to come here, taps on the window glass, and go, "This is real glass. Cry me a river," basically, going straight at CM Punk through the camera. So CM Punk, and he's the first match of the actual real pay per view. So after Jack Perry's match, he comes backstage, and you have to cross CM Punk because CM Punk's the first match of the pay per view. Basically, Jack Perry goes. well, CM Punk was like, you know, I could beat your ass, and Jack Perry's like, hey man, do whatever you got to do. And I think it ends up with CM Punk shoving Jack Perry. Jack Perry lunges at his legs, and CM Punk puts him in a headlock. And all this is happening right there in front, right in backstage where the boss is sitting. The owner of the company is sitting right there because the owner of the company is Tony Khan, and he's the head of creative. He's the general manager. He's the owner. He's everything. So he's right there while all this is going down. And basically, after they break it up, CM Punk and Tony Khan goes in the office. Like, I want to say right before his match, CM Punk basically tells Tony Khan, like, you fired me. I don't want to be here no more. And he's basically like, he calls him a pussy and everything. Goes off on the motherfucker. And after that, Tony Khan suspends him, and now he fires CM Punk. So that's the whole entire story of that whole entire situation. Uh, Basically, it's like if you worked at a job and you already got suspended once for fighting your coworker, then all of a sudden you come back to work. Well, you fight your coworker after you done talk shit about your coworkers to your boss already, and then all of a sudden, they bring you back from your suspension, then you come back, and all of a sudden you fight another coworker, and this time, after fighting the coworker, you go to the manager and you basically try to bully the manager, and talk shit to the manager. So basically, that's all how it happened. That's the breakdown of the CM Punk situation, where now he was the number one merchandise seller. So like everybody's buying a shirt. They done gave this man a whole entire show. Like they done did everything possible to cater to this man, and he just was like, "Fuck it, I'm the superstar." He basically was like, "You only come, anybody come to see you, Otis. Everybody come to see me." So basically, that's how the whole entire story of the CM Punk situation is. Uh, is that is there any like thoughts on on that whole entire situation? Like what would you done in that situation if you're Tony Khan? Like what would you have done?
I probably would have did the same thing, honestly. I mean, you got to at this point. I mean, this guy's kind of just all involved in a lot of ruckus, and it's like, bro, I got to for the sake of my company. Even if the other guys is at fault, it's like, bro, but it's always involving you. You know what I mean? So, um, and to that point, like, shoot, you asking me to let you go anyway. So I'm gonna do what you asking for. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Um, and I think I feel bad for CM Punk, because it creates a cloud around him, and that cloud just kind of followed him, and it's kind of like Draymond, when he does one thing, like now everything that Draymond does is brought up. You know what I mean? So that
It's
I
exactly
hate.
just like that. It's just like that. But the problem that kind of stemmed from it was he came from the WWE.
Right,
And he came from the WWE and he got to AEW. That's all he did was talk about WWE. It was like they treated me so bad over there. The grass, like people be like, I really want to go to WWE. He's like, well, the grass ain't green on that side. And from my point of view, the way I saw it was like, bruh, you complained about that place so much, but you needed that. You needed that
right,
type of system where in AEW, the prisoners are running the asylum. That's literally how it is over there. Like in WWE, you have a whole creative team that creates a story for you. They have a whole entire system where you could get your character together. You could do all this. And AEW is none of that. It's,
right,
hey, I got this idea, I want to do it. Tony just goes, okay. And then all of a sudden they go out there and then the fans like myself are like, what the hell is this? This don't make no type of sense. Like, and that's kind of how it's gotten to the point where you got those fans like me where I'm like, WWE has trained me to have you have a story. There's a purpose for this to go on. Like, this is why this goes on. The story continues every single week. AEW is like, well, we got this guy here, and this guy happens to be here today too. Man, fuck it, just throw them out there. We'll just go from there. No, that's
yeah,
not how
that's
that works.
chaos.
Yeah, it's like Tony Khan is like a kid with action figures, and he just puts them together, like put matches on. That's literally how he runs the company, and that's not how you run a company. That's just not how you run it. You have to
Nah,
have a
not
system
at
of
all.
everything set up. He's a man that wears like 15 hats, and he's in control of AEW. He's in control of Ring of Honor. He's also, I think he has parts in the Jacksonville Jaguars because his dad owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it's like he's everywhere, and he owns a soccer team. So it's literally his hands are everywhere. But it's like, bro, with your hands everywhere, there's no way you can focus on one thing at one time.
Right.
It's impossible.
And that makes sense. I mean, like it's like there's no way he's gonna be able to really focus and create and develop, and that's what a part of wrestling. Like that's a part of wrestling, developing a good storyline. It's like a an action soap, you know what I mean, type shit. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like basically like you said, an action soap opera. Basically, that's all it is. It's just a story being told with a little bit of action right there being sprinkled on top. That's all it is to
exactly.
it.
The
And
WWE helped put him on the map, and then it was just like he went and really became more of what he already was with the
it's
new
like if
company.
you worked at Chick-fil-A and then all of a sudden you like, man, Chick-fil-A too much. I'm gonna go work at McDonald's, and then all of a sudden you learn McDonald's is not what you want. You should
Right.
just stay at Chick-fil-A.
Not for real. I mean, do you want to say that was it a company or was it low key a little bit because he had that much freedom that he got to actually hang himself low key? You know what I'm saying? Because like, yeah, the company
Oh,
could
it's
be
both.
trash where you're working at, but it's also too like, yeah, I feel you can feel a type of way, but like, bro, like it's your show, but yeah, I ain't about to sit here and go to blows with you and lose a check. Like, unless I'm like, bro, I got enough, I'm cool, and it really don't matter. I want what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he's at that level, I get it. But if he's doing this because he wants to be a part of the industry and keep making the money and shit, it's like you biting your own hand. Then that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Like, he's a great wrestler. He's a great showman. Like WWE helped put him and made everything for the foundation. Now he's made his own spin with it, and it's like, bro, you gotta be careful with putting your own spin on something and not holding yourself accountable and saying, okay, bro, what am I trying to do here? You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, folks, external can occur, but what are you doing for yourself to make sure that you still straight? Because going out the blows because someone doing something on your bit, like that's understandable. You blowed about that, but it's a whole nother thing when you actually go to blows over that. Is it an anger problem or something? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we don't know the man. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, bro, you got something there that you need to address. Like, what's that frustration?
Yeah, and that's a lot of people saying it could be anger issues. It's a lot of things that's playing into it. But like I said, you hit on a point earlier. It's on both sides of the company and himself. But it's like when you're a renegade in a system where it's like, bro, you're okay. We get it. You're a renegade of the system. Cool. Like you stand out more. But when you're a renegade amongst the renegades, where do you stand out amongst that? You're surrounded by your own people. That's basically how it is. So like when he was in WWE, it's like he could stand out more. He's this guy he's fighting for us. He's different from everybody else. They didn't really want him here, but he made it. But AEW's like nobody really want none of them, but they happen to stand out because they're on the show. Like they weren't that big to make it to the WWE. So it's kind of like he just so happened to be he just so happened to be a shiny new toy because he happened to be there. But after a while, as a fan, I was getting lackluster of CM Punk being there because I'm like, ah, he's here every week. Cool. It was cool when he first came back. It's like, oh, bro, we ain't seen you in 7 years. But within those 7 years, it's like, okay, now I see what I understand now why he needed to go from WWE and why he always stood out in WWE. Because it's like, bro, you were different from everybody else. Now you're in AEW, you're no different from this other person. You're literally you're like them, but I happen to know you more. That's if that makes sense.
No, it definitely does, bro. Like, because we know him to be the free guy, that's what we're gonna know him as, the iconic freedom guy. Because, like you said, it's like the king of the misfits. You know, so we're going to feel relatable to that. And now it's like once you get to a certain point, it's like it's looking like on some Jay-Z tip. Like, could you imagine Jay still out here selling dope? You know what I mean? And still making money, like being like on an underground, like a SoundCloud rapper type. Like, I'm still really doing this bit while I'm still making money off the industry, but I'm still be out here in the streets. Like, you don't not gonna sit there and put yourself in that kind of situation. Now, you might have people around you to do the dirty work to do that for you, but you're not gonna put yourself in a spot to where you're gonna kill off the main pipeline. At the end of the day, CM Punk is a name. He made that global. You know what I mean? So it's like, bro, where do you want to see where your legacy to go with this? You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like a sports thing where you got like a championship. Like, yeah, he has the title belts, but with any kind of industry, if they want to try and erase you, they can try to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it wouldn't be right at all. But if you constantly alienate yourself, you can't look for admiration. You know what I mean? Like, you
Oh
can't be
yeah,
like,
the wrestling is known for erasing motherfuckers. Like we do not speak about a lot of people no more
swear
because
to
of
God.
certain things that have happened. They name do not get mentioned nowhere. Highlight packages just disappear. Uh, you could go on a network on Peacock or whatever, and you try to look at a Chris Benoit match, it will just say it will have a blank spot. It would be like a match, and it's nothing. His name won't get mentioned. He just gets just wiped off the whole entire face. That's exactly how wrestling works. You mess
Mhm.
up to a point where you can't return, they will literally erase you straight from history.
So I got damn what you did. We're gonna be fine without you. Thank you for doing what you did. Hope you
Yep.
say you use your bread well. That's exactly what they do with it. Because with them, it's like, where else can you go? Where else are you gonna go to take your talents? That's where you're gonna get the millions of dollars for your talent. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're gonna pull up and try to make your own thing, and we've seen how that works. Like, I'm not saying you gotta play the game, but you gotta understand what you're getting out of the game, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna play
Yeah.
it and get it out, head for what you're getting. And if you're messing up your own goals, that's where you need to. You know what? Let me reassess. I don't necessarily say he has to go to the WWE route. I think honestly and truthfully, I wouldn't mind seeing him managing some young talent coming up. You know what I'm saying? He'll be one of those AI types, what we say in the league, where they was the first pioneer that they could help those coming after this. Say, hey, bro, this is what I did. You can do what I did, but let me give you the OG talk that I wish I had talk. The OG talk I wish I had. You know what I mean? Not saying telling you what to do, but give you that insight on, hey, bro, like, it's good that you feel top in the world. People love me, everything's going great, but don't forget, like, as much as they love you, that hate can turn just as strong. You know what I mean? Or what you do, you can literally turn that whole narrative and flip that because this is media. You know what I'm saying? You could just look a certain way and folks will be on your ass, and now you a joke. You know, like that's just how the nature of
Yeah.
media
And
goes. So
that's how Punk was, man. You know, he's maybe one of the few wrestlers that you know that covered in tattoos, but he's straight edge. He don't drink, he don't smoke, he don't do none of that. So it's like
low
is
key, you remind me of Sting. Low key, he
he
remind
sticks
me
out
of
more
this
than anything.
our era Sting to me.
Yeah, he is. He's basically our era Sting, but the thing about it was Sting never made it to a super big level. He made it to a point for himself, and he just went lower, but he never made it to like a big point. It's kind of like if a basketball player made it to like the G League, and then he just stayed only at the G League. Then all of a sudden he was like, you know what? I don't want to go to the actual NBA. Let me just go to the no disrespect on Ice Cube's
Big
league or
three, right?
anything. He just want to go to Big Three. Like he'll just go down there and do Big Three. He don't want to do NBA at all. So it's kind of like that. And then he only gets one career game of the NBA, but that's how Sting was. But for CM Punk, he got it out the mud. He came from the underground wrestling. He came from the Indies, made it to the WWE, and was like, "Nah, I don't want to be here no more." And then he decided to go down to the G League, which is AEW. I mean, it's competition for WWE, yes, but it's not on the level of WWE. Everyone knows that. But he went down there, and then he was like, "Oh, I don't like it. I don't like being here because this ain't as structured as the WWE was, or how structured how the NBA was." But you sat there and you dogged the NBA or WWE, you dogged the WWE for so many years now, Will the WWE do business with him again? Oh yeah, because WWE don't. They're about the money. They'll tell you.
Oh yeah, they'll do it for the clicks and views. They definitely
They'll be
will.
like, oh yeah, we cool with you. We like you. We good with you. Yeah. You come back because they know you're gonna draw money. They don't like. It's not like, oh bro, we not. They're not gonna mess up the bag. They don't care. If it's about the bag, they'll do whatever they gotta do to get the biggest bag.
That's what it is.
So and
It don't matter.
that's how it is and that's the wrestling world for you, really. But just to close it out, if you guys enjoyed this wrestling talk, check out me and my boy Izzy Two Real on the We're WrestleManiacs 2 podcast. We'll be switching lanes, We're gonna be switching from the current time talk to talking about some old school wrestling. Our new format will be talking about WCW Greed 2001. That was the last pay-per-view of WCW before they went out of business and was bought by WWE. So we're gonna be looking into that pay-per-view and just look at how different things were for them back then, especially when their doors about to close. So thank you guys for listening to this Wrestle Talk with your boy Playboy Troy, Platinum P, and DJ Rose. But catch me and my boy Izzy Too Real on the We're WrestleManiacs 2